It's finally here. The Blackmagic PYXIS is shipping. Why has this camera generated so much excitement? Or maybe you've got a different perspective and don't understand why someone would be excited about the PYXIS. Let us show you what makes this camera special. Here's our first impressions. We think there's 4 things that stand out about this camera. First, form factor. Features are great, but the camera's shape and size can be just as important. The image that we're going to get out of the PYXIS is a known quantity. Blackmagic have been open about the fact that it contains the same sensor as the Cinema Camera 6K. There might be small tweaks and improvements, maybe, but basically it is possible for you to get the same image out of the CC6K for about £600 less than buying a PYXIS. So, why does the PYXIS exist? Cameras are fascinating machines as they straddle the worlds of creativity and practicality. They need to balance a variety of objectives. First, they need to be practical. But a camera is more than just a scientific tool. It should inspire creativity. Are you excited to pick the camera up? That enthusiasm will affect the work that you produce. Reworking the already fantastic Cinema Camera 6K into a completely different body is testament to how important the form factor of the camera is. This leads us nicely onto our second point, that Blackmagic is a company that listens to its users. Blackmagic might have always intended to make a small box-shaped camera, we don't know. But either way, people have been asking for one, and now it's here. Box is our preferred form factor for camera. We love our Kinefinity Marvo LF. We've also used box cameras from Red, Sony, Canon, and so on. Pretty much every manufacturer is creating box-shaped cameras that you can build into the camera that you need. And there's a good reason for that. Think of it this way, pretty much every car has 4 wheels because it's a really smart way to build a car. The existence of this camera shows how much the user has been considered in its creation. Third, the camera focuses on the right features. Let's talk about camera spec. You can divide camera features into necessary and nice. Features that are critical and other features that are nice to have, but might not typically be used. Depending on your work, the line between the two can move. For example, if you're shooting natural history or doing tabletop product work, this line might move to the right as high speed becomes a necessity for your work. Cameras tend to get more expensive as you push to the right, but things are actually a little bit more complicated because there's not always a clear relationship between features and a camera's quality. A camera might deliver 120 frames per second, but its high speed might not be very good because it's using pixel binning, lacks sensitivity, or has an inferior codec. And then on top of that, it might have sacrificed other important features that you actually need in the camera. Let's put it another way. A car might be able to go 100 miles per hour, but if the wheel starts shaking and it can't corner, then that feature isn't really worthwhile. And then on top of that, what if it doesn't have cup holders? That's a deal breaker, right? It's important that the features a camera has are good quality. For a camera to be brilliant at everything, it's going to cost a lot of money. So unless money is no object, you should consider what features do you really need? Which are the ones you use 90% of the time? And would you rather they be awesome, or would you rather the camera is a jack of all trades and a master of none? We think the PYXIS strikes a really good balance. Here's a list of what we think are its most important specs. First, resolution. 6K is the perfect resolution for us because it's enough to reframe but still master in UHD. Second, sensor shape. There's a valid case for different sensor sizes, but what we care about more than size is shape. This is a 3x2 sensor, sometimes called full frame. Sensor size names get abused a little bit by some manufacturers. A lot of cameras market themselves as full frame. We recently featured the Sony Burano. Full frame is written on the front of the camera, but it's not a full frame camera. It's a 17:9 crop of a full frame sensor. The same is also true of the FX9, FX6, and FX3. Canon do the same thing too. Those are just some other examples. Let's go back to focusing on the Burano. Full frame is based on 35mm 8perf film. It has an aspect ratio of 3:2. The Burano's maximum shootable image has an aspect ratio of 17:9. So it's as wide as a full frame sensor, but not as high. The PYXIS is full frame. Why is that significant? Because we've moved beyond 16:9. Aspect ratio is an awesome creative tool that cinematographers can use to express themselves. If you haven't seen it, check out our video all about the history of aspect ratio. 3:2 makes it easier to deliver vertical extracts or shoot in taller aspect ratios like Academy. It's also better for shooting anamorphic, where the sensor's height is more important than the sensor's width. Next, bit depth. If resolution is a measure of how much spatial detail a camera can capture, Bit depth is a measure of the color detail a camera can capture. 10-bit is the minimum standard in most professional workflows. The PYXIS has an amazing codec. It's got 12-bit Blackmagic RAW. Did you know that 12-bit can store 4 times more color detail than a 10-bit codec? What's even better is how efficient Blackmagic RAW is. It will give you higher quality than ProRes, but with smaller file sizes. Next up, usability. I want a camera that offers control without complication. Blackmagic's camera UI is proven. I don't think there's an easier or cleaner interface. And physically, the camera delivers all of that in a versatile modular box camera package. Finally, price. Can I get all that without paying an arm and a leg? Yes. What do you think about the PYXIS? Do you agree with what we've said? Do you have a different perspective? Let us know down in the comments. It's well known that the camera shares some internals with the Blackmagic Cinema Camera 6K. How does it compare? What's different? Well, firstly, form factor, obviously. Look at the number of mounting points, the shape, not to mention the customizable side plate. It's constructed from different materials. This is all metal. The BMCC has a metal internal frame, but the exterior is plastic. There's improved I/O on the PYXIS. It's got SDI outputs, Ethernet. Yep, this camera can connect to the internet via Ethernet or via the USB port. We'll share more about that in a future video. The PYXIS is available with 3 different mounts, and it can take 2 CF Express cards. A lot of those improvements are pragmatic. They might seem small, but they can be significant in professional workflows. For example, the Ethernet port can be used for camera control, offloading footage, or connecting to the cloud. You can mount a phone to the camera. The PYXIS can use a larger battery without the need for an external battery plate. You get the idea. Lots of small improvements really do add up. The build quality is incredible and the design is really well thought out. Here's a few quick examples. All the mounting points use replaceable threads. I appreciate the number of them on the camera's underside. Some professional cameras have just one. There's even tiny rubber feet so it won't slip or scratch. The USB ports have screws for locking. The side plate is an exceptional idea. The camera comes with a phone or SSD holder. I'm looking forward to seeing what accessories third parties develop. I love physical power switches. It makes it quick and easy to power the camera without looking, and so forth. This camera has so many cool features, there's just a few. How does the PYXIS compare to other cameras? Cameras like the Canon C400 or Sony FX6. We'll talk about that next, but first, a quick message from our sponsor, Audiio.
A big thank you to Audiio for sponsoring this video. Here's 3 reasons you should try them out. Does it take you ages finding the right library music for your videos? You'll love Audio's Link Match AI feature. We often get inspiration from popular music we hear on streaming or on social media, but we can't license that music on our projects. But if you enter that track into Audio's Link Match AI, it will suggest tracks from its own library of over 450 artists that match the rhythm, energy, and genre. This saves so much time. Secondly, if you want to tweak a song, you can use Audio's Elements feature to download stems. Those are separate tracks for each instrument. Now you can remix the song yourself. And lastly, a subscription to Audiio also gives you access to their library of over 30,000 sound effects. Audiio normally costs $200 a year, but right now you can get an entire year's subscription to Audiio for just $60 using the link in our description. That's insane value. Supporting our sponsors is an awesome way of supporting our channel. Thank you for watching.
Let's get back to those comparisons. If you want a 6K image, here's some options. First, maybe you could consider the red Komodo. We'll ignore the original and focus on the X. It's a great camera, go watch our review. Obviously it excels in sensor readout, it has better high-speed options too, but it's well over twice the cost body only. And by the time you've factored in the cost of other parts you need to build a system, it could be more like 4 times the cost. There's a handful of mirrorless cameras that can shoot 6K. We really like the Panasonic S5 IIX. We've got one at the moment, so we'll provide some direct comparisons. It's amazing value, but it's built for a different kind of work. It has record limits, limited connectivity, and it's going to top out at 10-bit with chroma subsampling. We love our Kinefinity Marvo LF. I'm shooting on one right now, but similarly, you'll spend 2 to 3 times the amount of money that you'll spend on a PYXIS. There's other options out there too. Please comment if there's a camera that you think competes well with the PYXIS. Now, if resolution isn't as critical, there's more cameras that we can compare the PYXIS to. The Canon C400 can shoot a 6K image and it can record to a high bit depth codec, but it's not full frame. It's 17:9 and it's going to be 2 to 3 times the cost of a PYXIS, but it is still a great camera. The brand new C80 is a similar deal, albeit smaller, cheaper, and with a more limited codec. The Sony FX9, FX6, and FX3 are all 4K cameras, and they're all 10-bit with chroma subsampling. The Burano can shoot 8K RAW, but it costs 10 times more. The best Sony camera for comparison is probably the FX6. It costs around £4,500, so less than twice the cost. But like we said, it's only UHD, it's only 10-bit, and it has 422 chroma subsampling, so quality-wise, it doesn't compare. Hopefully those comparisons help you start to build an appreciation of why the PYXIS is special. This level of quality at this price point is very unique. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I think there's 3 things that people have rightly noted about the camera. I'm sure we'll find other things, but these 3 stand out when you look at the camera on paper. First, high speed. Open gate, the camera's highest frame rate is 36 frames per second. But once you window down to a 17:9 image, you can get a respectable 48 frames per second out of the camera. It's possible to get higher frame rates if you window more aggressively, but I think 48 frames per second is honestly enough for most work. You can get 120 frames per second if you window the sensor to HD. To be fair, most cameras employ some sort of windowing to achieve their higher frame rates, so this is all fairly reasonable. Rolling shutter always seems to be such a hot topic for camera reviews. The PYXIS isn't the best, but can I please put it in context for you? When shooting 6K DCI, its rolling shutter is 18 milliseconds. The FX9's rolling shutter is 22 milliseconds. And remember, that camera is pretty much a broadcast standard. So if 22 milliseconds is good enough for TV, I think we can manage. Here's the better comparison though. The PYXIS has the same rolling shutter as the Sony Burano, a camera that costs 10 times more and is used for feature films. So 18 milliseconds, I think we're going to be just fine. And finally, autofocus. If you need it, you'll have to add a third-party solution. Would it be nice to have it built in? Yes, but it might not be an issue when you consider the camera's intended market. It's a cine camera, and when combined with manual cine lenses or vintage glass, internal autofocus isn't going to help. All right, enough talk. The proof is in the pudding. So let's get out there and shoot something, get an actual image to talk about. I've assembled the parts I need to make a really nice shooting package. For power, I'm using the LBSU90Cs from Swip. These are 90 watt-hour batteries, so the same capacity as a modest V-mount. My favorite thing though is that they can charge via USB-C, which is awesome because I don't need to take along dedicated chargers. The PYXIS monitor isn't shipping yet, so I'm using the Ursa EVF. I'm kind of excited about that though. I love the engagement you get with the image when using a viewfinder, and I'm excited about the effect that might have on what I shoot. My top handle hasn't come yet. I'm going to be trying out Mid49's cage system. I'm looking forward to that. Lens-wise, I want to see what this camera is like with native L-mount lenses. So I've got Panasonic's 24-105 f4, such a great focal length for run and gun filmmaking. I'm also going to pair it with the incredible DZO Arles primes. A review on those is coming soon. They are awesome. Finally, I think I'm going to add DJI's Focus Pro LiDAR system. That should be fun. If you're interested in the PYXIS or any of the kit that I'm showing, please go check out ProAV. That's the supplier we use. Such a great team. Let them know we sent you and they'll talk you through whatever you need. Well, that's it. Let's go see what this thing can do. We'll share everything in our next video. Please make sure you're subscribed if you don't want to miss it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Before we go, are there any questions that you'd like answered about the PYXIS? If there are, please let us know down in the comments. And of course, please check out the awesome offer from our sponsor, Audiio. Supporting them is an awesome way of supporting our channel, and you'll get an entire year of awesome music and sound effects out of it. Thanks for watching. Let's go shoot something.